Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is, of course, HD StarCraft, and I'm here to bring you guys another Heart of the Swarm broadcast. So allow me to introduce the players here in the top right-hand corner of Star Station. We have got a Zerg player here today. His name is WarMech. And over in the top left-hand corner, we've got his opponent. He is the Blue Terran player. I believe I casted a game with him playing against MMO's Taco. And he actually lost that game, if memory serves me correctly. His name is Shimoon. So we've got another Terran versus Zerg here today. Two more unknown players. And I know everybody's like, oh no, not more unknown players, HD. But oh, hold on. I beseech you guys to reconsider that thought, because in the last game I casted we had two unknown players, and that quite arguably had to be the best Heart of the Swarm game that I have casted as of, as of Heart of the Swarm's release in the beta. So it has been absolutely amazing watching just even amateur players, and I'm told that these two players are no chumps, man. They are actually masters players, high masters players, up to grandmasters. So I am very excited to see what's going to happen here. And guess what? The map is Star Station. Let me just show you guys why that's so important, because this map is the same map where we had that last epic Terran versus Zerg on, which I think we saw Vipers yanking in tanks and Thors. We saw Binding Cloud being used to great effect. Anyways, this map is huge. That's the bottom line, man. There are so many expansions. It's a 4-player map. And one interesting thing to note is, how are the players going to control this little center location here? The 12 o'clock position is going to be absolutely important, because it's the middle expansion, the neutral expansion between these two players' bases. This drone is not getting out of there. Goodbye. So Marine gets the first blood today, and Shimoon's gonna take that down. Now, of course, as you guys all know, I just made a first-person VOD of myself, which was a little nerve-wracking. Not too much. I don't do too many first-person VODs, but when I do, I try to make it look pretty good. I wanted to go ahead and give out some stuff, and that stuff was, of course, Heart of the Swarm beta keys. That's right, guys. So this is going to be your very first shot, and if you guys don't want to play the luck factor, obviously, if you guys want to just roll the dice, post a comment in that video of myself, in that first-person VOD, and you guys will get a chance. I'll pick that this Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific. But if you guys want to be more proactive about it, all you have to do is answer this question correctly. Now, I'm going to ask a question. It's going to be a random question that I don't even know what I'm going to ask yet. So it's going to be completely off topic, off the wall. And the first person to answer it in the comment section down below will win. Now, I might do another one. I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, so get ready, guys. Here it goes. The first question is, and I think I'm going to reward this to the people who have been following me on Facebook, because if you have been, then you would know the answer to this question. Alright. On what day did I lose to a Bronze Leaguer and I was in Grandmasters in Heart of the Swarm? On what day was it? It's a special day. So if you answer that question correctly in the comment section down below, then I will give you a Heart of the Swarm beta key. I'm just going to message it to you on YouTube, and, best of luck with it. And maybe later on in this cast, I'll ask another question. So make sure you guys keep tuned in. And if you guys miss your opportunity to get a Heart of the Swarm beta key, never fear, never fret. I've got, I guess I've got about 12 more to give out, if my math is correct. So I've got a lot more to give out in my upcoming casts. I'm going to be doing about 1 to 2 casts a day. So make sure you guys just stay tuned, stay prepared, and be subscribed. That's the best way that you guys will have a chance at getting that Heart of the Swarm key, if you guys are subscribed. So because obviously it's going to show when my next video comes out. Anyways, enough about that. Let's go ahead and talk about this game here. No real action to start things off. 75 resources lost for the Zerg so far. But he does have a natural, and he does have a 3rd hatchery down here. And things are looking quite standard for the Zerg. For the Terran, what is he going for? Does he have Mech on the way? No, it looks like he's going to go for Banshee for now. No revelation yet as to what tech choice he wants to go with. A lot of times Terrans will just expand out of the 1-1-1 though. And it looks like Shimoon's SCV is ready to do that, man. He's got 500 minerals ready to drop a command center, so we'll see if he does it. There he goes. So Shimoon is going to take a relatively quick 3rd here. Notice that we've got Overlords positioned out in outer space. How do Overlords even fly in outer space? How do mutas fly in outer space is greater question. Like, wings should not work aerodynamically in an area with a complete vacuum. So I don't know how Blizzard came about that, but I think they did come up with an official explanation, because so many people were wondering, how do mutas and overlords float in space and fly in space? And they said, well, that's very easy to answer. The mutas and overlords have a gaseous chamber inside them, and they release gas when they flap their wings, or they release gas to propel their blimp-like bodies. So very interesting, Blizzard. Very interesting. So here we go. Banshee coming in. I don't even know how Banshees fly, man. They got like helicopter blades. I don't even know how that works in outer space. But this Banshee is going to be able to do a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, Zerglings are just serving themselves up on the menu for barbecue at the Xel'Naga Tower. I don't even know why. And it looks like that Banshee, I believe it is still alive. It probably pulled back somewhere. Let's go ahead and check the units tab. No, it actually died. So I'm not too sure what it died to, because I'm checking the Queen and the Spore Crawler right now. I don't see any kills on those units. Maybe one of these queens. Yeah, it looks like this queen probably got the kill. You know, pretty tame game so far. Nothing really happening, but I'm told this game is supposed to be pretty good. So I'm going to give the players the benefit of the doubt here. We do have a barracks floating out. And it looks like a couple of Hellions just controlling the map, but we do have mech play coming out from Shimoon. He has added on 2 armories here, and with a second factory as well, there's no more doubt about that. He is definitely going to go with mech-based play. That is actually a 3rd factory on the way, so probably going to see Widow Mines, some Battle Hellions, and tanks and Thors. And as far as the Zerg goes, what kind of unit composition is he planning to go with? He's still on, wow, he's still on hatchery tech, just now getting up to layer at around 11 minutes. It's quite the late layer, if you ask me, guys. He doesn't necessarily have the drones to make up for that deficit, but we'll see, we'll see. I mean, most likely he's going to throw down the infestation pit, and there it goes. Drone's like, that's what I always wanted to be. My whole life is an infestation pit. So he's coming, and we'll see if he decides to go for infestors to augment his Zergling Roach army, or if he's going to go for more swarm hosts. Swarm hosts obviously being the new unit added into Zerg for Heart of the Swarm. Blue Flame upgrade is on the way right now for these Hellions. No Hellbat upgrade yet. Although, oh, excuse me, Hellbats can now transform right away? Am I reading that right? I thought it was an upgrade at the armory you had to get. That might have been a change. I don't recall exactly, because there's so many changes that are happening all the time. But we do have Involve Enduring Locust on the way from the Zerg players, so he is going to go for Swarm Host, ladies and gentlemen. And that means that we are going to have some Heart of the Swarm units making their way on the field quite soon. You'll note on the map right now, it's pretty much a stalemate. You know, the Zerg and the Terran kind of just facing each other off right now. The Terran doesn't really want to walk on under the creep, but at the same time, he's got Xel'Naga Tower control. So it's kind of like this little stare down, if you will, and no player has really opted to be aggressive thus far. But we'll see. I think something explosive is bound to happen here. It's a Zerg versus Terran after all. WarMech is getting a 4th hatchery. One Viking floating out across outer space here and just checking for overlords and whatnot. A Hellion squad will take control of the Xel'Naga Tower to the south, leaving 1 Hellion behind at the north. And the first swarm hosts are now making their way on the field. Nine swarm hosts, in fact, plus Carapace and missile attacks. That's quite a bit of swarm hosts coming out right now. And, you know, Zerg right now with the Swarm Hosts are actually quite powerful. It's hard for Terran actually to figure out a way to deal with that, because to combat that, you are forced to produce mass siege tanks, and it does become a bit of a stalemate. But Terrans have been used to being the race that is able to push and be aggressive, slow push at least, or be very defensive with siege tanks. They're not used to combating such a powerful unit like the Swarm Host. So this is going to be interesting to see how WarMech makes use of these units against Shimoon's Terran army. A couple of Hellions here, a couple more Hellions running up into the natural, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This could be your first, well, maybe not your first blood, but first drone bloods at least, and it looks like a couple of drones are going to go down here at the natural. Some more drones running into the 3rd, And wow, these Hellions with Blue Flame are going to just roast away so many drones. Oh, this is terrible for the Zerg player. He's lost 29 already and is scrambling to get his Roaches in position to deal with those Hellions, and finally cleans them up, but loses quite a bit of workers there. Now, he does have a lot of Swarm hosts, so by no means is he out of this game, but he has taken a significant hit to his economy. We'll see where he positions his Swarm host here. He's still trying to make, I guess, still trying to figure out a spot to put them, but there are a lot of tanks and Thors making their way over to the neutral position, and we have a command center floating down. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Shimoon has decided to claim the 12 o'clock neutral, and you'll recall at the beginning of this cast, I said that was going to be an absolute pivotal point in this matchup. As the Locusts come in, they're gonna take out a bunch of siege tanks absolutely for free. And that is why, as Terran, you've got to be so careful about those Swarm hosts. It's a free, constantly spawning unit with a lot of HP, and it does a lot of damage. And Shimoon's in a lot of trouble here. He's gonna lose more tanks. Where have I seen this before? Now, as a Terran, to hold this off, you just need enough tanks to counter the actual spawning of Swarm hosts, and it does require a lot of tanks. I would say probably on a 1-to-1 ratio, you need one tank for every Swarm host if you're going to look to counter this. And at this moment in time, Shimoon just doesn't have the right amount, meaning over time, he's going to slowly lose more and more tanks, so it's kind of like a snowball effect. And it can rapidly accelerate out of control if Shimoon is not prepared for this. Now, he has brought in a couple more tanks. His upgrade's currently at 2-2. Zerg also at 2-2, so he's also looking pretty sharp on the upgrades. And more Locusts just continuing to come in. Now, does he have enough tanks to hold this off with the Planetary Fortress? It looks like he just barely has enough. And WarMech is not opting to make more Swarm hosts. Instead, he's got a bunch of Vipers on the field, plus he's got a lot of Roaches on the way. So, a little bit of tech switching coming up from both these players. Shimoon is also, the Terran player, also going for a bit of tech switching himself, adding on the Banshees with Cloak. And the reason for that is because Cloak Banshees are very effective against burrowed Swarm hosts. You just drop a comsat, and really the Zerg army doesn't have a way to deal with the air units. So it's a good way to combat those burrowed threats. Now, those Locusts are still continuing to come in, but it looks like for now, there is enough Terran firepower to be able to hold off the continuous spawnage of Locusts. So as of right now, you know, the Terran player is holding steadfast onto 4 bases, but here comes the Vipers dropping down the Binding Clouds, and those Binding Clouds could make those tanks absolutely, well, they make them absolutely worthless, but the timing on that was a little weird because I would have thought he would have waited for his Locusts to come in and then drop the Binding Cloud. I think that would have been a lot better. Now, here comes the Banshees. They are going to push these Swarm hosts away, and they're able to kill a couple, maybe one. Nothing too serious, though. 191 supply to 177 workers killed, currently far in favor of the Terran player, who is on 4 bases. And is that a bunch of commands? Oh my god, that is 7 command centers coming up right now for Shimoon, who's already on 4 bases. So this is just a ridiculous, an absurd, an obscene amount of command centers coming right now for the blue Terran player. And the Zerg doesn't even have anywhere near that close to production. He's only on 4 bases himself. He's got to hope that this Roach side counterattack is going to be able to do some type of damage, but Shimoon's all over it. He's got tanks in position. And those Roaches basically just threw themselves away for pretty much nothing. Meanwhile, the potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th base for the Zerg player pretty much scattered out by that Hellion, so we'll see if Shimoon decides to do something about that, or if he's just going to go ahead and let it go up. Obviously, Hellion is going to have a very hard time breaking through. Now, WarMech, what is he going to do, man? He's got a lot of Swarm hosts, he's got Vipers, he's making Hydras right now as well. I think he's trying to figure out if he can break through this Terran tank line. And the best way to do that, obviously, is to let your Locusts go in front once the Locusts spawn, and then come in with all the rest of your Zerg units. But that's a big risk. You know, when you commit to something like that, you're pretty much committed. You're not pulling out at that point. So we'll see if WarMech decides to do that or not. He's got 4 Vipers here, and with proper Binding Cloud, he could shut down a lot of the siege tanks. It's just gonna come down to good timing here, and probably better now than later, because we do have Ravens on the way with Hunter Seeker Missile, and here we go. The Binding Cloud's coming down. All the tanks are shut down. The equivalent to Disruption Web from Brood War. And it looks like WarMech is going to be able to kill off the Planetary Fortress, and he calls it a day there. Now a new round of Locusts are coming out. Meanwhile in the back, oh my god, it's a Hellion Roast! And oh no, a lot of drones going down there. 58 workers now, and this hatchery, as fire retarded as it may be, even with a queen to transfuse and repair the first degree burns, it cannot withstand firepower of this magnitude. And Shimoon is so looking good right now. He just killed off that hatchery, but he did lose the Planetary Fortress himself. So it's a pretty close game right now. I would say one thing that Shimoon's kind of got going for him is he's still got a lot of his tanks alive, even though a lot of them were Binding Clouded. You'll recall most of that Zerg army went in just to take out the Planetary Fortress, and then they bounced out. And the thing with that is Shimoon's got so many orbitals here that it doesn't matter if he loses the Planetary Fortress. So, you know, he can replace that very easily. A lot of Banshees coming in over here to the north, taking out some drones. And it looks like WarMech still doesn't really have an answer for that. He has a lot of Hydras though. This is interesting. I don't know what it is with the trend with Zerg players these days and going Hydras against mech. Now, granted, you know, Crucio shot cannons don't do increased damage to Hydralisks, but they're still a very flimsy unit at only 80 health. They don't take much to get killed off by splash, so it is interesting, I think, that Zerg players now are experimenting with Hydras against Terran. We'll see how this is going to work. I think with Vipers in conjunction, they can be a good unit on these 4 tanks. Yeah, they're going to get taken out before they even get much of any damage off. Like 1 siege tank shot, which hit a Roach. And the Roach being sturdier than the Hydra just kind of shakes it off. And this game is getting pretty epic, guys. Shimoon is now grabbing a 5th base, as he's already got the 4th at the neutral. He's now adding on battle cruisers as well with Yamato cannon. And look at his Raven squad as well. Now, forgive me if you guys will, but I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here. Where have we seen this type of game before? And I think in that last cast I just did, it's almost identical here as the Terran now. Oh my god, Seeker missiles! Wow, just taking out a huge army of Sormos right there for basically free. The Locusts, though, are going to be able to take out the tanks because they are clouded. And oh, the Hydras could kill off a lot of Ravens here, but the Seeker missiles doing a ton of damage themselves. And so Ravens back out of there. And now it looks like the orbital command grid is under attack. WarMech, if he can take out all these orbitals, this is huge. He'll be able to shut. Look at how much energy is ready to go on these orbital commands. And Shimoon is not dropping the meals down. Rather, he's letting the orbitals fall. And 1 battlecruiser just totally flying into no man's land there. Down it goes. That's a lot of Hydralisk, man, with +3 upgrades. They're no joke against air. And looks like, you know what? WarMech is going to be able to take out at least half the orbital commands as a new Terran army comes out right here. And will WarMech stay? Yeah, he's got more Hydras coming in. Does he have enough to combat this army? Oh, yeah, he does. And this must be why Zerg are constantly trying to experiment new styles against Terran. Oh, look at this battlecruiser getting yanked in. But you know, the Hydras here with speed are not too shabby against Terran. But here we go, man. Hellions in Hellbat mode. Nope, not even enough to deal with this many Hydralisks. And look at how the Hydras are just constantly pushing their way forward. WarMech is looking to potentially do serious critical damage here. Could he actually end the game with this Hydralisk push? This is incredible. And now all of a sudden it starts to dawn on you, and it's making a lot more sense why Hydras are becoming so good, even against Terran, when historically they were not. Oh man, these Hydras are going to be able to kill off the natural orbital command center. A couple of Vipers just kind of sitting up here looking really pretty. I mean, here we go. The Hellions are here, and fire is effective against Hydralisks, so that was pretty good. Binding Cloud isn't going to really work against Hellions because they are already considered a melee unit, I believe. Now that Battle Cruiser, oh, the Hydras cannot attack under the Binding Cloud, so they're forced to maneuver their way underneath it, and finally the BC will fall. But I think that last chain of events worked pretty well for Shimoon, who is now going to be able to establish once again control over his main base, but there are Brute Lords on the way. Meanwhile, a couple of Swarm hosts just constantly spawning new Swarm locusts over here. But with the buildings set up like the way they are, oh, they can kill off the command center. But I think this planetary and siege tank combination will be all right. Here comes a Broodlord, so from WarMech, who, oh my god, he's going to be able to pick off a lot of tanks here. Shimoon, out of position, doesn't have any Vikings to combat the Broodlords, is going to lose reinforcement tanks. And is now down to 39 SCVs. Workers killed so far, 66 to 35, favoring the Terran player, but he is under siege right now. He has a lot more bait than the Zerg player does, but will he be able to combat the Broodlord push? He has new Vikings on the field. And WarMech just doesn't have any infestors here. He doesn't have any way to stop the Vikings, so his Broodlords too are going to die. Meanwhile, Swarm hosts to the south, still trying to lay siege down on this expansion. Current base count at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Zerg against, I would say about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Terran once he gets his orbital command landed down. And he is remaking his orbital grid. You'll recall he lost almost all of them except for one. And it was a bit of a shame because he didn't really drop any meals as they were going down. I would have thought that would have been the response most Terran players would have made. But he was probably too preoccupied with something else at that moment in time. Now, this game, now 31 minutes in, has gotten pretty damn epic. The Zerg, you know, is pretty much mined out of the main base, mined out of the natural, is barely mining out of the third, has to have expanded down to the bottom right, and has new hatcheries coming. So he is looking to take this game into the 40-minute plus range. Same with the Terran though. He's been able to hold on to this planetary fortress. I don't even know what happened to those Swarm hosts. It looks like they retreated. But here comes some Blue Flame Hellions. And it looks like they'll be able to get a couple of kills here too. 72 workers killed, 76 workers killed here. These Blue Flame Hellions are just killing off all the drones almost at this expansion as new drones come. They're like, hey, what happened to my older drones? Where'd you guys go? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we do have pathogen glands on the way finally for the Zerg player. You would have imagined at some point in this game he would make the OP infestors, which Dustin Browder actually recently said they might look into nerfing. Well, he didn't say exactly that, but he said, yeah, infestors have been used pretty effectively throughout the life of this game, so maybe we'll look to nerf it in the future. We'll monitor how infestors are used in HOTS and Wings of Liberty. But anyways, I digress. We do have an army pushing out here from Shimoon, currently sitting at 3-3. Massive army, in fact, with tanks and Viking Banshee support. Does the Zerg have enough to combat this? He's making 7 Vipers. He's got 13 Hydralisks on the way. He's going to have to rely quite heavily on the Vipers to shut down the siege tanks and allow his units to get into melee range. Now, those Vipers, when they come out, I don't know if they actually have enough energy to immediately spawn out a Binding Cloud. It doesn't look like they do. They'll need to consume first, but does he have enough time to do that? The Terran is pushing and threatening. And here we go. It looks like all the Vipers going to go ahead and consume that hatchery. Gotta be careful that he doesn't kill it, though. That hatchery is dropping pretty rapidly here. And there we go. All right, so now he's going to look to drop the Binding Clouds. Oh, there we go. Great Binding Cloud usage all over the Terran army. And the rest of the Zerg comes through. Those tanks are completely neutered. They cannot do a damn thing. And it looks like Shimoon is going to lose most of his army here. If he can get the Vikings out, at least that would be the silver lining around a very dark thunderstorm cloud. But it doesn't look like, yeah, it looks like he will be able to. Just picking off Overlords on the way out, which is smart. You know, because right now, the Zerg is under supply. In fact, 123 over 80 supply. And that number continues to drop because Shimoon is just being relentless against these overlords. Now landing them down at the hatchery and killing off the hatchery that was consumed. And that is why you got to be careful when you use that, and when you use the Viper's consumability, because you don't want to drop a structure, definitely not a critical structure like a hatchery, that far low. And so the Zerg really kind of taking a big hit right there, and the Terran Shimoon just doing an excellent job of recognizing that weakness. Now, what will WarMech do at this point? He's lost a couple of hatcheries, but he's still got at least four actually, healthily mining down to the bottom corners of this map. It looks like the Terran player, Shimoon, is looking to land a command center down, but there's a Swarm Host down here. It's like, you can't see me! And it looks like there's another Swarm Host bird over here, so little subterranean adventures over there on the bottom left side of the map, as WarMech is looking to push out and at least get a little bit of revenge against these Vikings, but off creep, unfortunately, Hydras and Roaches are not very good. Now, WarMech is adding on Infestors. Look at that resources lost tab, by the way. Amazing right now, 37 minutes in. WarMech is adding on Infestors. And Infestors, like I said before, Dustin Browder's favorite OP unit right now. They are very, very good, and they always have been. With fungal growth, with the ability to shoot out infested Terrans, and you combine that with the new Vipers, and the weird thing of all is WarMech is going Roach Hydra against Terran. I mean, this could actually be able to break through these tank lines. I definitely think it could be deadly effective. And once again, I just want to reiterate to you guys, WarMech is going Roach Hydra against Terran. This isn't even advisable against Protoss, and he's using it against Terran, and to some degree has been pretty effective thus far. But Shimoon hasn't given up. He hasn't been the one to tech switch. He's been staying on siege tanks so far. He's reclaimed the neutral expansion at the 12 o'clock, in fact, with quite a bit of siege tanks. We'll see what happens down here in the bottom corner. We do have a Hydraless army moving down, looking to shut down some of these command centers that are mining. Of course, they're going to break through the supply depot wall first, but with this many Hydras, that should not be too much to ask for. And the Hydra's now attacking the siege tanks. And we'll see if WarMech, oh, he actually forces a cancel against Shimoon's new command center, but whoa! That planetary fortress is like, hold it right there. So you know, those Hydras probably won't be able to do much else as the Hellions look to do cleanup duty. 39-minute game now, ladies and gentlemen, and I still don't know what is going to happen. If you look at both players' banks, they are very close. Maybe the Terran just starving a little bit for gas, but the army supply is almost identical. And that Storm Host is like, please don't burn me! Don't burn me, bro! But he's down. And you know, this is a close game. It's hard to, oh my god, drones! No! Shimoon is gonna go for a Mega Drone because none of these Zerglings aren't much better than drones against Hellions. Oh my goodness, it's just a absolute molestation of the Zerg army. And finally, Roaches coming over here, which are, of course, spawned with a little bit of a tougher hide against firepower. But these Hellions are going to be able to kill off a ton of workers. Look at the workers kill tab so far, ladies and gentlemen. 101 drones have gone down this game. That is almost unimaginable. That is an insane amount of workers, and with the workers that just dropped, the Zerg has now dropped to only 117 supply. It certainly looks like at this point the Terran has taken control of this game, but then again, you can never really count out the Vipers and the Infestors. Energy-based units which are so effective against Terran, and we do have actually 8 Infestors out with 6 more Vipers on the way. So in a few moments here, we're about to find out how effective WarMech can be against Shimoon's army. I would definitely say Shimoon right now has the edge. Stormos is still saying, you can't see me. Oh, now you can. And now you can. I guess he's playing a little hide and go seek with that command center. And a couple of Locusts coming out as well. Now, Why is WarMech... I don't know why he's making 22 Hydras again. It's not like... I don't know. I think the reason why Zerg is making so many Hydras... I mentioned this before, it seems like a pretty good unit, Roach Hydra in conjunction, but I think the main reason why is with Binding Cloud, you effectively shut down the reason why Hydras were so terrible against Terran, which is the siege tanks. If you shut down tanks with Binding Cloud, then the Hydras can just do all they want to do, and against a Terran who's outfitted his army with a lot of sky-based units, Hydras are so good. But at the same time, Infestors are also very good because they can fungal those sky-based units. So I guess you can kind of see here WarMech trying to balance it out. He's making both Infestors and he's making Hydralisks. And when you look at that on the mini-map, it is a dead tie right now. Both players controlling identical numbers of bases. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bases apiece. 44 minutes in, every base has been claimed. I guess except for this one right here, but you know, it's pretty much mined out. This game is unreal. And when is it going to end? Who is going to be able to get the last laugh here at the end of the day? More Hydras coming out for WarMech. He's really focused on making Hydras right now. Terran player just going balls out. Sky Terran, Raven, Siege Tank, and trying to push a couple of tanks up here to the Xel'Naga Tower. Looks like he feels like he wants to make a push. No, he's actually going to back the tanks out. Not too sure where these tanks are going. I think what he's looking to do maybe is reinforce the southern position against a possible Zerg attack. You'll note on the mini-map as well that Terran has 4 of the sensor towers, so he can definitely sense an impending Zerg attack with you know, great ability to predict that. But nevertheless, he wants to just back up the southern side just in case a Zerg decides to attack through this location, and in fact he'll be able to shut down this hatchery and perhaps claim this hatchery for his own as a command center. 3 battlecruisers coming out as well, ladies and gentlemen. The Zerg not really pushing through this center line. It seems like both players have kind of relaxed a little bit, gone into a more passive mode. You'll see that the Zerg now is coming down to the 6 o'clock, presumably to save the hatchery that he once had, but now that it's down, there's really no point in doing that. He might decide to throw up another hatchery, and a couple of Hydras now told to take care of that siege tank, which they will be able to do so. You can also note that both players' APM now is starting to drop a little bit. That's because at this point in the game, they've done all the macro that they can. They've claimed almost all the bases on the map. And when you come to a situation like this, you know, you start to think more than actually play instinctively. You start to think, all right, how can I close out this game? So you'll see even the Zerg dropping down to 0 APM per second there. And he's thinking right now, and that probably wasn't the best thought. Just flew that Viper in there for a free kill. Now he's got to be careful. The secret missiles could come out. Oh yeah, those secret missiles are going, and the Vipers, will they be able to fly out in time? They're running for it, and this is a race right now. Will the Vipers be able to get away from the secret missile in time? It looks like they have just enough move speed to be able to do so, and the Hunter's secret missiles fall short. Meanwhile, tanks from Shimoon coming down to the south end side, looking to get up on the high ground before they siege up, but a lot of Hydralisks giving chase right now, and he's probably best suited to siege up right now just to try to take out as many Hydras as he can before those siege tanks go down, and the siege tanks are done for. Meanwhile, more battlecruisers in production for Shimoon. He's adding on 4 more BCs at this moment in time with a total of 4 already, so that's gonna give you a grand total of 8 battlecruisers. I guess we're gonna see the rarely thought of battle. That is Hydras against BCs. And I think it's actually kind of a wash. Hydras aren't that bad against VCs. They're very good against air units. We'll just have to wait and see. Here comes WarMech, though, coming down around the bottom side of the map, looking to make a push with his Hydra Viper army, and so much firepower is here. He shuts down the planetary fortress with the Binding Cloud, along with the tank in the back, and that planetary is down. Now, what will the Terran do? Will he go for a base trade? No, he's sending his battlecruiser fleet, along with Ravens, down to the south, hoping that he's got enough to deal with this. And we're about to see, this could be the critical point in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen, as 5 more BCs are on the way. You'll note the Terran only has 17 SCVs, in fact, but he doesn't really need that much. A lot of orbitals here flying away. Grid Orbital Command is gonna load out, I suppose, and try to find a new spot, but here comes the BCs, Ravens, and Vikings, and I don't think WarMech has enough to deal with this. He's dropping Binding Cloud down, but I'm not sure if that actually works against air units. I don't think it does, and those Hydras completely slaughtered there, but not before they did a lot of damage. They killed off 2 command centers and took out almost all the FCVs along with them. Now, the thing is, they did not kill the orbital grid, and even though Shimoon's only got 9 SCVs, he's got so many orbital commands, he could just rely purely on mules for the rest of this game. And I think right now that WarMech realizes what kind of army Shimoon is playing around with. That's a lot of Vikings, that's a lot of battlecruisers, and that's a lot of Ravens. At this moment in time, you really need to start to make a lot of Corruptors to combat that, and we do have, I think I saw at least 40 Corruptors being made right there. So there it is, 47 Corruptors on the field right now. And it seems like this game is going to draw down to Corruptors versus the Sky Terran. And Shimoon right now realizes, hey, you just killed 2 of my bases, so I'm gonna kill your bottom bases. Both players' minerals and gas very similar, so it's really gonna come down to the micro here as the Corruptor squad comes in. He needs to spread them out against Seeker missiles though. And here we go, the Corruptors are flying in. Ravens are gonna shoot Seeker missiles. He's not spread it out as Corruptors. Oh my god! A brutal Seeker missile landing right there as Shimoon takes out all the Corruptors, almost nearly all of them with Corruptors, with Seeker missiles, and Shimoon telling him to split his Corruptors. And WarMech said he did, but I gotta disagree right there. I don't really know if that was the best split. I did see him try to split, but it wasn't good enough. You need to split them out way more than that if you're going to deal with Seeker missiles. And unfortunately for him, Shimoon is going to take out the bottom 2 expansions. You'll see how the supply now has dropped drastically in favor of the Terran at 169 supply to 44. His APM now for the Zerg player is pretty low. Oh, actually it's shot back up, but for a moment there he was just talking, because I think he's realized that he's lost this game. And up to the very last moment, such a close one. And I really feel like if WarMech had split those Corruptors out better, he might have been able to make a last stand there against the battlecruiser army. But as it stands right now, I don't really know what he can do. He's got a lot of Hydras. Wow, it's a lot of Hydras. Hydras against BCs. Like I said, Hydras aren't too shabby. Able to take out 1 battlecruiser there. But what about this amount of BCs backed up by Ravens with more than enough energy for point defense drone? I don't know, we'll see. WarMech is going to go for the base race though, trying to take out the planetary fortress. Does he have enough? He does. But really, there wasn't much to be made in terms of money there for the Terran player. So WarMech takes a small moral victory there. Looks like he's going to push in once again with the Hydras. There are a couple of tanks at the Zelnaga Tower, just 1 looks like. But he is going to be able to kill off the command center once again. Look at the workers, 8 to 16. Workers killed 149 to 74. Units lost 82 grand and 65 grand. I don't know about you guys, but if WarMech has left the game. I was gonna say, I don't know about you guys, but if I lost 82 grand, I would probably be really depressed. So WarMech has left the game. He's realized that he cannot continue to stand toe-to-toe with Shimoon. But this gives me a great opportunity to go ahead and give out 1 more Heart of the Swarm beta key. So for this question, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys. All you have to do is be the first one to post the correct answer in the comment section down below, and the question is going to be, all right, what is my favorite car? So I guess today is what would be my dream car? That's the question. What would be my dream car? I guess today's cast is going to be more about myself. Next cast I'll try not to ask too many questions about myself, but this one I want to go ahead and support the guys who follow me on Facebook, because if you do follow me on Facebook, then you should know the answer to these questions. So what is my favorite car? Post it in the comment section down below. Be the first one, and I will message you on YouTube. your Heart of the Storm beta key. Now, if you guys miss out on your opportunity to get that beta key, all you guys have to do is subscribe, and then when my next video comes out, you should be alerted. Be the first one to answer those trivia questions, and you will get a beta key there as well. Thanks all for tuning in, and this was an amazing Terran versus Zerg. HD signing out.